think it's time you got back to work. You've been moping in that same spot for over 2 weeks now. You didn't even repair R2. I had to do it.
You don't understand. You wasn't there. I was completely outclassed. It's never happened before.
But you won, right? Using that alchemy thing?
It's called alchemy, and I survived. There's a difference.
Can't you just use it again?
It's not something you really want to rely on. It uses life energy to be performed. I just figured that shaving a few years off my life was better than having it end abruptly. Look, I gotta go see somebody.
But what about the show?
Just cover for me.
Me? What am I supposed to review?
I don't know. Do Catwoman. That's supposed to be about women empowerment and all that bullshit. I gotta go.
So what? Just because I'm a woman automatically makes me a feminist? That better have been a no.
What the hell I was going to do? Every time I stand in front of you. So you thought of disrespect? How far can you take that bullshit? Now it's time to get this shit on. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. All bets are off. Bang!
Smelly cat, what are they feeding you? Smelly cat, it's not your fault. Smelly, really bad.
Okay, first off, I feel the need to tell you, the audience, in warning, that this movie sucks. Now, I know you hear that a lot on this show, like 90% of the time, but this one really, really sucks. You don't even have to watch this. Seriously. I implore you. If you value your intelligence, just shut this video off right now. You have been warned. This is the worst superhero movie ever made. This movie is worse than Elektra. It's even worse than Daredevil. Dare I say, it's even worse than...
7 million.
Okay, maybe not worse than that, but it's definitely a tie between the two. Again, you have been warned. So the movie starts out with a brief, somewhat but not really history lesson on cats during the opening credits. The reason I say somewhat but not really is because it's a big jumbled mess of fact and fiction. Yeah, don't bother trying to figure it out. You'll just cause your head to explode. We then get a narration from Catwoman herself. Now, if I was Dom, I'd probably say something like, "What is the flippin' point of narrating to us about something we know doesn't happen the way you want us to think it does, just to cut to the beginning of the story, especially when you're just gonna tell us that it's a fake out, 20 seconds into the fake out. You might as well just start us off from the flippin' beginning." But I'm not him, so we'll just listen to the narration.
It all started on the day that I died.
You know the happiest day of my life? I know the happiest day of my life. I swear the happiest day of my life is the day that I died.
If there had been an obituary, it would have described the unremarkable life of an unremarkable woman, survived by no one. But there was no obituary, because the day that I died was also the day I started to live.
We then cut to Gotham City, I guess, and whoa, does that look like crap. I mean, wow. Asylum has better CGI than that. I know this came out in 2004 and all, No, there's no excuse for that.
Anyway, Hallie plays our lead named Patience. You heard me correctly. Patience.
It's funny how the one thing the audience is running thin on the most will be repeated constantly throughout this film.
Patience, I have no clue why they changed her name, is a struggling artist working for a cosmetics company. A cosmetics company that has developed a new cream that can reverse the signs of aging, but has extremely deadly side effects.
Really? An evil cosmetics company? Why is it that with every movie starring a female superhero, no one knows how to portray them without using some insulting way to point out that they're a woman? And I don't mean their outfits.
Tank Girl had no character arc because apparently women aren't sophisticated enough to have layers. Elektra was a boring bitch because when you're a woman, that's what you have to be in order to kill the bad guy, or turn them into puffy green smoke for that matter. Babe Wire was basically Stripperella, before Stripperella, and Supergirl's ultimate reason for battling the villain was over a man.
It's almost as if Hollywood exists in a totally different reality, void of any women remotely resembling the ones in our own. The only thing more insulting is if they made Patience this weak, clumsy, low-spoken, mousy. They did, didn't they?
Excuse me, hi! Do you think you could just maybe turn the music down just...
Jeez, even the cat thinks this is pathetic. The next day, she's home painting when she sees the same cat from the night before on the ledge. Thinking it's stuck, she climbs out onto the ledge to save it.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Hey, what'd you do that for? I don't think that's stupid at all. I think that's very humane and selfless of her. Yes, I suppose she could have called the fire department, who have ladders, but then we wouldn't get to see her inner strip. Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
A cop, cough cough, love interest, happens to be driving by and thinks she is trying to commit suicide. After saving her, starting a budding rose growing in his heart, she rushes off to work, dropping her wallet. Wow, that's just not going to improve at any point during the movie, is it? The cosmetics company is owned by a supermodel played by Sharon Stone, and her husband, who don't seem to have the best relationship.
I have a busy day today. Drinks, then dinner. Don't wait up, will you, darling?
I stopped waiting a long time ago, George.
You know, right about the time you started bragging about sleeping with other women. Life's funny that way.
Hey!
Ah! Jeez! A little warning next time, movie, before you start throwing random faces at me.
And what is with his shave? It looks like the California fault lines. Anyway, the cop whose name is Tom Lone.
Such a good name. Tom Lone. Rhymes with cone, phone, bone.
Ugh. Just do a Mrs. Swan impression and call it a day.
Brings Patience her wallet and then asks her out on a date because she's a woman, so she has to have a love interest. Because the messenger service never sent anyone to pick up her work that was due at midnight, she's forced to take it to the lab herself, where she overhears the problems with the cosmetic cream. And rather than reasoning with her, because clearly she's about as smart as a bag of rocks, they try to outright kill her.
You know, at this point, it's hard to tell who's dumber, the hero or the villains. Or me, for still watching this.
She runs into the waste disposal pipes, and the villains do what every one of Halle Berry's exes wishes they could. After being flushed, she is surrounded by a bunch of cats, and, Hollywood, you do know that cats exist, right? They are a real thing in this reality. You really didn't have to CGI it here. Anyway, using its cat morning breath, trust me, that will bring anyone back from the dead. Patience finds she has all sorts of new cat powers, like jerking spastically. And the ability to see things that are far away. And an obsession to chase small insects and moving lights.
That might pose a problem if the enemy has laser sighting.
We then get to see more bad CGI, which only seems to get worse as the movie goes on as we watch her break into her house. Because... She wakes up on, to be honest, I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it doesn't look safe, instead of her bed, because cats don't sleep in beds, I guess. However, according to this movie, they do take the time to get themselves a pillow and blanket. Finding a note with the cat's owner's name and address on its collar, because cats are like fortune cookies, she returns it to the lady's house. The lady invites her in, where she proceeds to throw catnip at her, and this happens.
You know, giving her all these extra cat qualities doesn't make her look any more like a cat. It just makes her look stupid.
After that bizarre scene, she is getting chewed out by her boss for not delivering the design and not knowing where it is because she has lost her memories of the previous night.
I'm sorry.
Sorry's not nearly enough.
Okay. Then let me try the remix. I'm sorry for every second I wasted working for an untalented, unethical egomaniac like you.
So is this one of those things where she develops a second personality through trauma, or does the writer just not know how to do personality transitions?
Clean out your cubicle. You are fired.
My hero.
He just got fired! He'll be homeless in a month! Yay!
After getting fired, she is looking at this piece of jewelry when Lois Griffin passes out, and we get to see her Seinfeld impression.
You ever notice that when they keep you for observation, no one really observes you?
This isn't funny!
Because she stood up Tom, she finds him at a school where he volunteers, and we get a basketball scene to show off more of those amazing cat powers.
I'm not sure which is worse, this scene or the seesaw scene in Daredevil.
Find out your name?
Try asking for my number.
This one. Definitely this one.
At least in Daredevil, they kept the camera straight. Then we get to see more cat powers like eating tuna and walking on the furniture while on the phone.
I'm starting to see why cats aren't really used as a basis for superpowers.
That night, she's trying to sleep, but the neighbors are blasting the music again. After failing to reason with them, things turn violent. This leads her to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She then robs the jewelry store she was looking at the night before, for no reason other than to tie in the cat burglar angle. Seriously, movie, you haven't used one aspect of the original character. Don't try now. Unfortunately, someone beats her to it.
You boys thought you could come in here and steal all these beautiful things? What a perfect idea.
No. Sorry, lady. Eartha Kitt, you are not.
There's a fight scene with some more terrible special effects and even worse choreography. Anyway, she wins. Yay! Villain was defeated by villain, I guess. The next morning, she wakes up to find all the jewels that she stole in her bed, and doesn't remember stealing them. So, I guess she does have split personalities. That, or she's possessed. She returns all but one piece of jewelry, and after looking up some stuff on the internet, she goes and sees the cat lady again. And Patience discovers that she was murdered and brought back to life as one of many Catwomen. So what, is being Catwoman like a Slayer thing now?
So I'm not Patience anymore?
You are Patience. And you are Catwoman. By accepting who you are, all of who you are, you can be free. And freedom is power.
And apparently, in this movie, Being free means donning as little clothing as possible without crossing into the PG-13 territory, and wearing a ridiculous helmet. Wanting to know who killed her and why, she tracks down the guy who shot at her, and since spank and anything higher is too strong a word for this fight scene, she tickles the information out of him.
The other night you killed somebody. Why?
I don't know. They told me to flush the pipe, so I flushed the pipe.
Why?
I don't know why. Biolene. There's something wrong with Biolene. She heard something she wasn't supposed to hear. I don't know.
You know, for a guy who doesn't know anything, he seems to know an awful lot.
After knocking the guy out, she goes to the lab and finds the scientist dead when the janitor walks in and thinks she did it. The next day, she goes to see her friend in the hospital.
How long have you been having these headaches, Sal?
About a month.
Okay, do me a favor. Stop using this.
What?
Okay, considering the information she has, and the jar of cream in her possession, she could just go to the police and have them run tests on it. Or, for that matter, tell the doctors to run tests on it to see if it's the cause of her friend's illness.
Because it's making you sick. Trust me.
You're always this stupid? Did you take lessons?
I took lessons.
While on a date with Tom, the Ferris wheel breaks down and a little boy is on the verge of falling to his death. I'm pretty sure it's about this time their budget ran out, because rather than see more crappy special effects, they switched to Catwoman vision. Later that night, she goes looking for her ex-boss at his home, but he's not there. After explaining what's going on to his wife, she agrees to help Catwoman. She sends Catwoman to an opera where her husband is, where she runs into Tom and we get more bad fight scenes with more bad CGI. Sometime later, we get to watch them go on another date, because she's a woman, and that's the highest priority on a woman's list, right? Finding a man?
Well, detective work is kind of like dating. It's all about the pursuit, but when you catch them...
Okay, this is just getting ridiculous.
After experiencing every teenage geek's fantasy, he finds one of her finger thingies on the floor, making him suspicious. He has a lip print done. I kid you not. And it turns out a 99.9% match. Meanwhile, Sharon Stone calls Catwoman on the cell phone she gave her and tells her they need to meet to stop her husband. When Catwoman arrives, her ex-boss is dead, and Sharon Stone, being the true mastermind behind it all, and wanting revenge because she was being replaced, pins the murder on her.
I'm telling you, Slavicki had evidence that Biolene was toxic. That's why Laurel killed him. George found out, and she killed him too. She was covering it up.
But that's okay, because she's a cat, so she can just squeeze through the bars, which she does.
Human anatomy doesn't work like that!
Getting to the factory, she disables the trucks so they can't deliver the cosmetic cream. Upstairs, Tom is talking to Sharon Stone because he doesn't believe Catwoman is the killer, which ends up getting him shot. He's about to meet his makers when Catwoman arrives to save the day. We get a less than climactic climax in which Sharon Stone falls out a window, Catwoman goes back in her cell, clearing patients, and Catwoman leaves the life she knew behind, including Tom.
Thank the mother of science that is over.
I warned all of you, this movie was really bad. The special effects were terrible. None of the changes made to the character worked on any level. The villain's motivation was one of the stupidest motivations I have ever heard of. I would say there were lots of plot holes, but with a story this dumb, the plot holes actually made sense. And worst of all, the costume looked absolutely ridiculous. I'm surprised her enemies didn't laugh themselves to death looking at that cowl.
I don't understand. How does he do this every week? I can't sit through another one of these. There has to be a better way.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One day I woke up knowing today is the day I will die. Cast dog was barking market, enjoyed it one last time. I called my mother, told her I loved her.
Is it over?